feel. So if you kind of understand the Verity software suite, it's real intuitive how you navigate through, depending on what application you're in. But again, I've selected my election. I have tasks. This is where we will do, official results, logic and action testing tasks, things like that. But once I choose my task, it takes me to the election dashboard. And this is where I'll be reading V drives as they're coming in from the polling locations. As soon as I insert a V drive, it tells me, the polling location that V drive came from, the number of ballots that are on that drive, and the number of audit log entries that are there. When I remove that V drive, if I try to plug it back in, of course, it will only take it once. And this is back to the conversation we talked about this morning, where if that V drive had been modified in any way, it would nix it right here. You get a big red X and it would say, the V drive's digital signature has been broken. And it wouldn't go any further. So, but you're also going to see turnout, the number of V drives tabulated, your precincts and polling places reporting, and then how many write-ins you would have. So in your specific install of the software, I don't think you would have this provisional line, because that's talking about our electronic provisionals. But other than that, all of these would be there for you. And one nice thing about being able to turn on and off the tabulation. So tabulation can be set. What time do polls close here? 7:30. So you can say, I do not want to tabulate anything before 7:30, but you can leave tabulation turned off and essentially pre-read all the V drives that you have from your high-speed central scanning, your absentee in person. So if you've got a lot of V drives from those things, you've got them pre-read. When the clock strikes 7:30, turn on tabulation, and you've got results immediately. And then you would turn tabulation back off to continue reading, and then tabulate in iterations whenever you wanted to basically do an update to the reports. So speaking of reports, we'll jump ahead into our results and reports. So there are a list of standard reports here, cumulative precinct canvass, polling place status, write-in reports, all of those are there. I'll show you the cumulative report here right now. I can say I want to see all voting types or a specific voting type. And then do I want overs and unders included on the report or not? But other than that, I'll show the report. And it's got a nice sidebar here where I can click to specific races. But I've got my two columns. Remember, you could have up to 5 different voting types. Name them what works best for you, and a total column in there as well. All of these reports can be exported to PDF, Excel, XML, HTML, and then we have a raw data dump export that we use a lot of times to report back up to statewide systems.
Sean, can you show them what that report looks like when they run? Is that possible?
I can print it to PDF.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Just do PDF.
Well, basically what happens here is you wouldn't have this side area, and you're looking at this portion, but it wouldn't be one contest for every sheet. It's going to fit as much as it can to save paper on there. But for viewing it on screen, we think it's a lot easier just to be able to step through the specific contests. And then we do have the ability to create custom reports. We can do 2 types. So we can do a filtered report, which is the standard type, probably the most commonly used type, but then also a reporting run, which I think for a county of your size could be really beneficial. What that means is if you decide that every 30 minutes, every 15 minutes, whatever the interval is that you decide, if you know that you want a cumulative, a precinct, a canvass report, and a polling place status report, you can set all those up and basically with one click dump all those reports instead of having to individually run all those separate reports. So it really makes that easy and streamlines that process because it's already going to be pretty busy and hectic on election night during tabulation. But then a filtered report is, first you need to give it a name. This will be Lawrence's report. That's just how it's going to appear in your list. And then maybe I just want to see precinct 101 presidential results. I need to base it on one of my standard reports. And then this is really the powerful feature of the software, is all of these filters that I can apply, and I can apply an unlimited number of them on top of one another to really get down to a level of detail that I need. So in this instance, I said I want to see precinct 101, so I can add that filter, and I want to see presidential results, so I can add that filter. But I could keep whittling down to a specific scan batch. So if you wanted to do a quick spot audit of just a batch of ballots that went through your high-speed scanner, you can go grab that batch off of the shelf, and you know that it's batch 42. Filter for batch 42, you've immediately just got custom results for batch 42 that you can have somebody do a hand count to, you know, do that quick audit. Yeah, there's no limit to how many you can put on there, and then you run the report. This isn't going to be too terribly exciting, but it's precinct 101 presidential results. Okay, so it's got all the same exportability and everything that comes with the other reports as well. So I'll take that and jump immediately into the auditing dashboard, because this takes the same filters and all that filterability, but what we're doing here is not creating filtered results. We're actually filtering for all of the cast vote records, all of the, basically the individual ballots and sheets of paper based on the parameters that we've set up. So this is how, when I mentioned earlier in the day that we can do true risk limiting audits, you can select your filters. We believe that the vendor should not dictate. You shouldn't just have a button that says like run risk limiting audit and then it does that for you. There's so many variables that you need to be in control of to say, I want to see the risk limiting audit for, you know, this particular precinct, this particular scan batch, this particular polling place, a specific device, whatever the case may be. You set those parameters, and then it will tell you how many cast vote records are in that filter. And when you export that report, every cast vote record has what we call a CVR ID, and that CVR ID is linked to the image file that is saved on the scanner. So I can say, this is the CVR ID. It links to the particular image from that scanner. Once I find the image, I can find the paper ballot, and I can directly link cast vote record, which is what the software gave me, to the piece of paper and show the system counted it the way we expect based on how the voter filled out the ballot. So this auditing dashboard is pretty powerful in that regard, to be able to give you really granular, you know, results to run those audits. A couple other little high-level things that I'll point out. Let's say you did send a scanner out to a polling location and it was damaged or it broke, or for whatever reason it went down, and it went down halfway through the morning and there was 100 votes on it. You had to send out another scanner. Well, in the craziness of election day, maybe that night you forget that you did that and only one of them comes back in and you tabulate that one. You don't want it to tell you that you're fully reporting from that polling place because you've only read it from one scanner versus multiple. It sounds like you're doing this today with multiple scanners in the polling place. So you could go in and set how many V drives are expected, and it will not show that polling place as being reported until it meets that number. So it keeps you from not tabulating something or leaving something out there undone.
Does this number have to be kind of like manually entered for every single poll place then?
I believe this one does, yeah. I could ask if that's I don't think that's an importable feature. Again, our recommendation would be, you know, well, one scanner for most of your polling places. Some of your busier ones might have multiples, but, and then you could change that on, you know, on election day, responding to what's happening.
I'm not sure, we might get with you with some online adjudication, you know, or on-screen adjudication, but one scanner at a polling location, we might all die of heart attacks on election day. There'd be no one else to answer the phone because we're all confused, you know?
Well, I should just state from a, like, we're not opposed to giving you more than one scanner in the polling place.
Have time.
I love it.
We just see that around the country that counties do function, and again, large counties, that's what Hamilton County is doing with, you know, the majority of their polling places. But this just another little thing just to point out some of the flexibility and functionality that you have in the tabulation software here.
Now, what is your major concern with having two in a precinct? Is it fail-safe? or is it lines, or?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm just wondering what your major concern with having multiple scanners out? Is it lines or
If the machine goes down.
single point of failure?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, that's.
It's both.
It's
both.
Yes, okay.
So single point of failure and lines.
Right.
We currently don't send one unit to any. We
Just
always
send
send
two
just
to every location.
Even in one precinct location, we'll send to another.
One thing that I was mentioning in some of the hands-on is when the device boots up, it does a full diagnostic check on all the components. So one of the things that we train as part of our poll worker training is get into the polling place, turn on the scanner first thing. If it passes that post test, power on self-test, if it passes that, we're pretty confident it's gonna be just fine and nothing has happened to it in transport. And then if it doesn't, that's when, you wanna get on the phone and get another unit out there right away. But,
I think that most of the reason we end up replacing units is due to jams. Is that still, anybody who works that?
I wanna say a lot of the time it's the first thing in the morning,
Yeah. that's
like
true.
the touchscreen isn't working or it won't boot up for whatever reason.
yeah, not too many replacements that are happening at like 3 p.m. If it's been working, it generally keeps working.
Right, and then the benefit of, us sending multiple, units to the same location now is, if one goes down, we might not even replace it, like, we still have 3 others there, we're good.
Yeah.
No need to, sound the alarms or anything like that.
Again, not opposed to that.
And one more question, do you set them all up, or are they reserved? You set them all up, ready to go? Okay.
Right.
One of the last things I wanted to mention, well, first of all, there is